Britain, Northern Ireland, the UK? Should we be paying attention of what's happening? Absolutely, we should. Because it has clear signs of pockets that we've seen in the United States with random stabbings, random killings by, you guessed it, wait a minute, let's not jump to conclusions. Oh, and most of them are all Muslims. Is that the connection? So if you don't know and you want to know, do you want to know more? What's happening in Northern Ireland is they're finally waking up. And I want to compare this to America. It's that we need to wake up. These leftists who have done this to us, to most of the Western colonized countries. Yeah, I'm talking about the UN. You know, I was having a conversation not too long ago with one of my family members, and we were discussing, well, I was telling them my theory that all of this happened at the same time around the globe. Especially during the Biden administration. So you had like Canada, the UK, Great Britain, obviously probably parts of North Ireland, the United States, Canada, Germany, Spain, all of these countries. Most of these countries were first world countries, and simultaneously, there was no more borders all of a sudden. Somehow, these other countries, these third world low IQ countries, somebody gave them a memo to flood into all of these countries simultaneously. Think about it. I don't need my tinfoil hat. Past shows I made a tinfoil hat. Yeah, I got it over there. I don't need a tinfoil hat. This is not a conspiracy. This literally happened across the planet at the same time. These leftist elitists who sit around a round table and control the world and dictate what's going to happen, and somehow they have these leaders in their pockets, that they all did this at the same time. Look what's happening in the UK. Look what's happening in Canada. Not just illegals, but the woke agenda. All happening simultaneously, and also downgrading education. All happening at the same time. Now, I found this just a little while ago while doing show prep, and I was like, wow, I got to put this in here. Now, I was going to do a show today on some of the aftermath of the Anthony trial being found guilty. We had some great, well, maybe we'll do one tomorrow. We got some great footage of Jasmine Crockett. I think she migrated from Retardistan. Yes, she said the most idiotic, stupid things, and I started a whole show prep to focus on these insane things that were coming out, but then this is just too big. This is just too big, and I'm going to tell you what, this is global. This is global, and we need to take interest and look to see what's going on. And look, and we can also say this crap is going on in America. Elon Musk just exposed the EU's biggest lie. I found this so interesting. Ursula von der Leyen was lecturing about democracy. Yeah, she sounds like a leftist because that's all they ever talk about is we have to protect and save our democracy, and we're all transparent. When Musk hit her with the truth bomb, boom. If democracy is the foundation of freedom, surely your position as a leader of the EU should be elected directly by the people. Boom. And check this out. The EU is run by unelected bureaucrats who impose mass migrations. Yes, you heard me that. You heard that correctly. Mass migrations. Net zero madness and speech controls on 450 million people with zero accountability. This isn't democracy, it's a dictatorship in slow motion. The people are waking up. The EU's days are numbered. And I just thought this was fascinating because I was like, well, how is this all tied in? Who is controlling this? Who decided with Obama's administration, the UK's administration, Canada's administration, Germany, France, all of these countries, Spain, all of these countries who have been invaded and overtaken and overrun with illegals, which they've opened their borders. Not only that, but the woke. Not only that, my God, low education, dumb down the education. Woke on steroids. All of these countries are doing the exact same thing that America had been doing. And it's like, I had just come to the realization, actually during the Biden administration, I thought this. I was like, wow, because I kept getting news feeds in X and on Fox and other news feed areas that this is happening everywhere. And I was like, wow, why? I see that they're reporting it. I see that they're reporting that Germany has a big problem. Oh, let me add climate change to that. I'm sorry. Yeah, climate change. Add that to all of these different countries, and Germany was about to just completely collapse. Finally, I think they're trying to make an effort they have to bring back fossil fuels. But anyway, so I see that they're reporting on these things happening in different countries, and pretty much I'm just focused on the immigration on this statement. But nobody's saying why. Where's the connection? I haven't heard anybody talk about where's the connection between all of these countries doing all of these things simultaneously. Open borders, open policy, compassion. Without vetting these people, just millions of them pouring in, and different countries around the world, all simultaneously. Somehow this is connected, and we could probably lay it at the feet of the EU and all the representatives from all of these countries I had just mentioned. We're all in on this together. We've been lied to for decades about diversity, and we need diversity, and that's what's going to make us special. That's what's going to make us great. No, it has completely divided us. It has completely divided us because when you got these third world low IQ invaders coming in here, they're not assimilating. They keep their crappy culture with them. And just look at little Somalia in Minnesota. All of them voting for Ilhan Omar. It's insane. That's just one example. And we are being infiltrated. America's huge. America's big. And sometimes people don't know what's going on in Texas or what's going on in Tennessee. And I just come to realize I'm here in Tennessee. And lo and behold, we got a bunch of mosques here that I didn't even know about. Like, why are we allowing this? Why are we allowing this? So what we're talking about today is the big uproar in Northern Ireland. Here's an interesting comment. As the Berlin Wall fell, Mikhail Gorbachev dismantled the Soviet Union. He asked why the EU was rebuilding what he was dismantling. The EU is intrinsically Soviet in nature. Von der Leyen, a 21st century Stalin. Wow, that's powerful. That's powerful. Wow, this comment might have just answered a lot of my questions. The EU is destroying European national sovereignty with mass unvetted migrations. They want a nationalist society run by globalist bureaucrats. And maybe that's why the left has been so vicious on the Trump administration, because all of a sudden we stood up, mega Trump stood up and said, America's first. America is first. And what has the Democrats in America have done? Guys, what have you seen them do over the past several years? Illegals were first. Illegals were first. Give them money, billions of dollars, put them on welfare, give them hotel rooms, give them cell phones. But let the poor, regular Americans be infested with drugs, living on the streets, giving them needles, giving them crack pipes. These people need to be charged with crimes against humanity. Yeah, I've said it and I'll keep saying it. This is insane. So, look, I've always suspected it was globalist bureaucrats, and I think it's at the feet of the EU, where they have representation of all of these people in the country, and they all got together. They all sat around. God, I wish somebody would have filmed it and then start leaking some of this stuff. Oh, Lord, would that be a blessing? If we actually got some footage of these people in some think tank several years ago creating this chaos. I know what we can do. We can just flood the country with their, and Trump was right. We're not getting their best and brightest. That all these floodgates were open, and we're getting out the insane asylums, their prisons. Look, when you guys just saw on the western border of Texas and Arizona and California, what we see them pouring over? It looked like more migrants, more regular people who are very poor. Just climbing over gates, swimming across the Rio Grande, cutting barbed wire, moving it, letting them in. These people weren't vetted. It drove me nuts, because one person comes to the gate. You got to fingerprint them. You got to find out who they are. You probably need to take their DNA. I don't know. But you got to find out who they are. Then you got to contact that country and go, hey, is he a wanted criminal? He's wanting to come in here. And anyway, just because you want a better life isn't a reason to be accepted into the United States. What we do is okay, so we let a bunch of Haitians in from a national disaster that they had in their own country, and good God, they've been here 10, 15 years on a temporary visa. And obviously Trump says, no, we're not renewing the visa, and the Democrats didn't do it. They must have forgot about it. So he's trying to get them out. A couple 100,000 of them, ladies and gentlemen. But guess what? The Democrats are like, no, you can't do that. You got to keep these people here. They've been here for 10 years. They got families. But they're on a temporary visa. Obviously their country's still a crap hole. But they don't have the natural disaster, earthquake, or whatever it was that brought them here. Man, common sense, the point is that you have to vet these people. There are rules and conditions. Are we letting Nigerians in, Christian Nigerians in, because they're being persecuted and actually murdered in Nigeria? Those would be the ones who, I would think, that would benefit from coming to come here. They're Christians. They're being killed. They're being slaughtered by Muslims. You can't just let anybody walk in the gate, because you don't know who they are. Plus, other countries, they're not going to they're just not going to let white people migrate in, but apparently it was okay. I don't see Mexico doing this, though. There's some countries that aren't doing this. Russia, Mexico, China, they're not doing this. Those big countries. Oh, let's just screw America. Let's just knock them down a notch. We're in on that, but you don't see them letting their floodgates open and letting mass low IQ third world invaders come in. All them people from the continent of Africa, all them people up in the Middle East. What is the common thread with the continent of Africa and many parts of the Middle East and them wanting to come here? They're all Muslims. They all practice Islam. This is dangerous precedent. And this statement here is, I not just they're destroying the European Union. They were trying to do this globally. They were trying to do this globally. And then Trump goes, no, we're shutting down the border. We're stopping this. We're going to vet these people. And what has the left been doing ever since? Demonize, discredit the Trump administration, which the American people want this. And we all see what's happening in California. We know the elections are being rigged. It's just insane to me. I just saw a thing with Thorne in it. He's saying that we can't get the American Act passed because they don't have enough votes, and something about they don't have even to get the filibuster. So I don't know. They're saying they just need to kick him out. A couple of other people kick him out. And also, Thorne said something to the fact that, we need more Republicans in. But look, we've got Republicans that aren't even voting for the will of the American people. And this is a travesty. This is a travesty because I think they are part of this elitist bureaucrat globalist. Maybe they're embedded in it, and they don't want this to happen here. They're going to do everything they can to stop Trump because Trump's going to be out of office in 2 years, and then boom, and they can try to get back in office, and I guarantee you they're going to lie through their teeth to get back in office, and then they're going to open the borders right back up. They're just going to open the borders right back up and redo all the damage that they're wanting to do. And then kickstart the global change too, guys. And kick in the woke business. The woke business. I guess they're saying, what, she's the head of the EU? That's the problem too. You put a woman in charge? I just thought this was a good comment. Elon Musk had retweeted it and said, indeed. But Richard Dawson says, a man attempts to behead another man in the street. No evidence of terror at this stage, says police. What religion teaches this kind of stuff? Just throwing that out there. Just throwing that out there. This was really good. We gain nothing from massive immigration from third world Islamic countries. They don't assimilate. They openly say they want Sharia. Call us dirty infidels and aim to conquer. They grape us, stab us, behead us for being white. Then demand we pay for it. Pay for it all. Tolerance of their intolerance will erase us all. Wow, that is an amazing statement. That is unbelievable. But we've been showing tolerance. We've been letting them build their little mosques. Because I guess after 25 years, we forget about 9/11. People forget you got a whole nother generation. And they counted on it because let's go back to lowering the standard of education, teaching kids how to hate America, teaching them that they should feel guilty that they're white. We're on stolen land, blah, 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 blah. And then here you have, that I had watched something a couple of weeks ago that they were having in Parliament in the UK, where they were actually because they've elected different parts of little cities or towns or whatever they call them over there. They've actually elected Muslims, right, holding these offices, and they're in the Parliament House, and they're discussing Sharia law. They're actually talking about it. They're actually wanting to create bills of blasphemy laws, which you wouldn't be able to speak out against Muhammad and him being a pedo. This is insane. And we need to pay attention. We need to pay attention because I tell you what, the leftists, they're watching what's happening over there. They're watching what's happening over in Canada, and UK and Canada are making strides. And these things that want to destroy the country. So I guess what we just saw, so the bureaucrats and the elitists can rule. This we need to be paying attention to what's happening there, because look at what's happening in Dearborn, Michigan. Look what's happening in New York. Look what's happening in Texas. It's coming to a city near you if we don't put a stop to it. Now, I know they've got a caucus, a Sharia law caucus made up of conservative mega Senate and House members, but to try to, we have to pass a bill. We have to pass a bill to say no Sharia law? Why would we have to pass a bill to say no Sharia law? When Sharia law goes completely against the Constitution, do y'all know what they think about women? They compare women, Islam compares women to donkeys and a dog. And they have half the brain of a man. This is insane. You know, we gain nothing from mass migrations from any third world countries. It's just hands down. It's just hands down. The people who built this, look at that on the top. The people who built that, look at that. Now look at the bottom. Are not going to benefit or enrich the culture of people who built this. Is this what nobody wants to talk about? Nobody wants to talk about these other countries and how they're still a crap hole, and then other people want to sit here and tell you that the colonialists, the colonists, the white people are oppressors. But what did they build? They built Western society. If they were so smart, why does their countries all look like this? The whole continent of Africa is a crap hole. Good Lord. There's parts in the Middle East that still look like from 1,000, 2,000 years ago. It's insane. So why would we benefit? I mean, look at India, for God's sakes. And we've been told for decades that they are our smartest and brightest for stem cell jobs and to give them visas. And then when they do get here, they're just taking janitor jobs at a cashier or whatever. They're not. We were lied to. And of course, we're a high trust first world society. And we are inviting barbarians into our country. And these elitists from the EU, they don't care. It doesn't matter what you want. It's what the elitists want to control. To control. And it's not a conspiracy theory, guys. It totally is not. This is legitimately happening globally. And thank God we've had Trump. And I think these other countries are starting to realize, wow, look what America's doing. Look what America's doing. America's standing up, shutting their borders down. And that's what the people want. Y'all need to check out Gadsad. He's got a new book called Off Your Self-Empathy, but use the word, S, because YouTube don't like it when you say that word. But check out his book. A society dies when it cares more about exhibiting infinite tolerance and empathy than invoking its own survival instinct. And I think that's what we're seeing Northern Ireland do. Their instincts have kicked in and they've had enough. Check this out. So now we're going to get into... Now, I can't show the images of the demon, the third world low IQ, which he's a Sandinistan asylum seeker into Northern Ireland. I can't show the footage on YouTube. But I guess you could go to X and go, I don't know where else you could go, maybe Rumble, if you want to see that footage. Maybe, I don't know if TikTok, what standards TikTok has. I don't have TikTok, but he's straddling a guy and cutting up his face. Now, we're going to talk more details about it. The guy the Sandinistan attacked was, what is the word? He was mentally challenged. And this Sandinistan guy attacks him and starts cutting up his face, gouging out his eyes, and was fixing to behead him. It was, my God. My God. I mean, it took that for them to go to the streets? What's it going to take for America? We've had thousands of young people, men, women, children, be raped, murdered, kidnapped by third world low IQ invaders here in America. What's it going to take for us to rise up like Northern Ireland is and say, we're done? Stop having these leftist judges stop Trump from going into these cities and getting these illegals out of our country. You know, New York has become as another sanctuary city. And of course, Tom Hyman says, well, we're coming in there, but we're not telling you when. But the left still tries to put up every roadblock they can to keep illegals in the country. It's insanity. It's insanity. And when is enough going to be enough? When is America going to go, wow, it's revolution time? It is revolution time. Hold up, I'm trying to get things so I can move things. Here we go. Now, I am going to read a little bit of this, and then you're going to listen to it in case you can't understand the guy because he has an accent. But I've got a couple of clips from this show here that's in, I don't know where he's broadcasting from, but he could be broadcasting from Ireland, somewhere in the UK. It's called Talk, I guess, is the show. It says UK caller goes scorched earth on politicians responsible for mass immigration and the destruction of Western civilization. See, this is what needs to be happening here because our Western civilization is under assault from the left, from Islamic invasions, from the woke. Oh, there was another thing I did see today real quick talking about the woke and New York. Mandabi says he's going to invest, I don't know how many billions or whatever it was, into the surgery for kids, for something to do with, I just saw it earlier. I don't know if I put it in the stack of stuff for a later time, but it was something for, what do they call it? Transitioning or whatever it is. And I thought Trump had passed, well, I think he passed he might have did an executive order, and I'm not sure if it's completely passed. I have to go research that. There's just so much stuff, guys. I have to take notes and refresh my brain on all kinds of things. So look, he goes scorched earth on the politicians who are responsible for this. Why have we gone scorched earth on Biden's administration and all of them? Auto-pin Biden, and we probably all know Obama was probably running the show. You have given them a target-rich environment. You haven't vetted them, and all you've done is dump them in a place where they can wreak havoc, where they come from. There's no law. This is the thing. You don't vet these people, and it's the same thing that's happened here. All of those people pouring in, or that plane full of Afghanistanis, you saw it. That big jumbo jet full of them. Just come in and dump them. We don't know who these people are or what they're capable of doing. And they've just come from a third world environment and you drop them in a first world society? What do you think the mental gymnastics in their head? They can't even, it's too overwhelming. It's too overwhelming. This is great. This country is on the edge. What happened in Belfast yesterday was proof that the tides are changing. People are tired of big-eyed politicians, belligerent politicians, welcoming every room temperature, IQ, third world rapists, murderer, and savages into our society. They did the same thing to us, guys. This all happened simultaneously. Every politician that brought these barbaric thugs into our countries needs to be sent to the queue. Every last one of them. Enough is enough. Now, we're going to play the clip. We're going to play the clip because this is literally what this man says. And what he says is exactly how I feel and millions of other Americans feel. You did this. You allowed these people, unvetted, Look at this. Politicians will every room temperature, IQ, third world rapist, murder, and savage into our society. They're barbaric. Let's not pretend. Let's not dance around reality. This is reality. This is reality. That you can't have this much compassion because we're just going to destroy ourselves with compassion.
I am sick to death of being told that anybody who stands up and says that is far right. It is common sense and nothing more. I don't know how many people contacted this show in the first hour, but there was one voice note that stood out. And before Richard Tice, wherever you are, just pin back your logos. This was Rob.
Morning, Jez. On my way to work, as normal. Listening to you talk about the thing that happened in Belfast last night, all the unrest. Well, yes, rightly, you shouldn't condone what happened. What else have people got to do? They're not listening. The political class are not listening. These people who are coming over here illegally, they're rapists, terrorists. They're coming over here. It's literally like putting a wolf in a sheep field. You are giving them a target-rich environment. You haven't vetted them. You've done nothing. All you've done is dump them in a place where they can wreak havoc. Where they come from, guess what? There's no law. If they can do literally whatever they like. They come over here, there's lawyers, of course, taxpayer funded, they get a nice cushy home, running water, Sky TV, gym memberships, bus passes. They can literally go where they want and create havoc. And when they do, the people that foisted them upon us, guess what? They say, don't get upset, don't do anything, don't go out and cause unrest. Well, I'll tell you what, mate.
Well, wait a minute. Did you hear how he said that they get a housing, they get a phone, they get to watch TV, they get to do all this, they get the bus pass, they get all that. So you have regular folks, even here in America, have busting their butt, trying to find work, doing all of this stuff, but yet don't get none of this handed to them. These people get subsidized housing. So why is it that, well, I guess it's rhetorical because they're saying, well, they're minorities and they need some help and blah, 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 blah. But what about regular American citizens who are actually trying to do something, trying to work? But no, they can't afford this. But you're going to give these people $2,000, $1,000 of food stamps, and the rest of us are scraping just to spend a couple of hundred a month on food, and they just get it handed to them. No, and I'm not just talking about the minority blacks that this is happening to. This is happening to all the illegals who have come into this country and got all of these things, which in turn creates the food prices to skyrocket because there's no such thing as a free lunch, ladies and gentlemen. Even if all the minority black people are getting all of this SNAP and stuff, guess what? All the American taxpayers' dollars are paying for it. Where does the money come from to pay for their food? It comes from your paycheck. That's where that comes from. So you're getting charged twice for food. You're having to help them get their food, and then you go and you can't even get half as much food. Not even half as much of these people that you see parading around and bragging that they can get all of this food. But what was interesting, he says that what's interesting to me is that when he's saying that they get all of these things, it's like they just dropped off a boat. And then boom, here's you a house. Here's you some money. Here's you a phone. Here's you a TV. Here you go. Here's you some food stamp money. Here's everything you need. Set up shop. Boom. What is happening? What is happening here? This doesn't make any sense to me. And the same thing has happened here. We saw it in New York. We saw it in other states. All of those Mexicans poured into, not just Mexicans, they had Haitians, they had Muslim-looking people, all standing in line, staying in some big hotel. Some big hotel. Giving them all phones. It's like, what? You just got off a bus? And you getting everything handed to you. If any of us want to move somewhere, we want to just relocate, it's not going to be like that for us, is it? You got to plan, save, have a job waiting for you when you get there.
Mate, stop reaping, then you might not have to sow it, because this country is absolutely when they...
I'm going to back it up just a little bit.
There's lawyers, of course, taxpayer funded, they get a nice cushy home, running water, Sky TV, gym memberships, bus passes. They can literally go where they want and create havoc. And when they do, the people that foisted them upon us, guess what? They say, don't get upset, don't do anything. Don't go out and cause unrest. Well, I'll tell you what, mate, stop reaping, then you might not have to sow it, because this country is absolutely on the edge. They cannot take much more of people getting stabbed, raped, blown up, you name it. You've foisted it upon us for the last 25, 30 years. Ever since Blair said, I'm going to rub your noses in it. Well, guess what? What goes round comes round. And I think the political class have got a very, very, very big smack on the nose coming.
6 minutes past 7. We'll say a very good morning. I am...
Wow, I think that's the rage. But when is the rage going to hit America? To that extent. To this extent. Now, we know, like, when we see the left not get their way with the rioters in front of all the ICE facilities, and we all know it's paid, it's not organic, they're all building up and all of that. And even when OJ, let's go all the way back to OJ time. Let's go back to 1991 where, what's his name? Rodney King. I think that was in 91. I was out there in California when all that went down, by the way. So Rodney King, they burned the cities. They was right, looting, carrying on just for one guy got beat up by a couple of cops. The black people, well, I know this wasn't organic. It had to have been funded and organized, and these people were paid to go do this. It's insane. But regular, normal American citizens, when are they going to rise up? Like the Minutemen. Like a revolution. But maybe we'll do it in a more sophisticated, logical way. But these guys, they've taken to the streets. They've went to the areas where these illegals have been given homes and setting their cars on fire and setting what are they? What do you call it? Government sponsored housing, whatever. They're burning those. They've gone to the area where these people are, that the governments have put them there. They're like, they're done. They've had enough. What's it going to take for America? Now, I know in a lot of elections we've been seeing a lot of Democrats lose their seats. So that's a good thing. We need to keep the momentum going because we can't let the left ever get in power again. And we have to be vigilant for wolves in sheep's clothing, which, a.k.a. a lukewarm rhino Republican. We have to be very vigilant. They just don't get in and then they can wreak havoc because they cannot put the votes because they're part of this elitist or they're getting paid. They're whoever their constituents are, which I think is some elitist group. It's not the people. Either it's some corporation. It's something. It's some entity that's keeping these Democrats what they're doing. Why would anybody not be America first? Ask yourself that question. Why would Democrats not be America first? Why would Democrats not want the Save America Act to have voter ID? Why? Ask yourself, why does Democrats continue to want illegals in the country? Why? And it's not because they're passionate. And it's not because they give a crap. It's because they want the power. They want the chaos. So they can stay in control. This is what they want.
And you just look at every single newspaper today of a man sat astride, just somebody who was there.
Yeah, and I can't play that footage, by the way.
Stabbing him, attempting to behead him. How do you explain that in a civilized society? And then, of course, I heard it straight away. I knew exactly what was coming because it turns out this was a Sudanese man who'd managed to find a loophole and get into Northern Ireland on a bus from Dublin because there are no checks. And of course, you knew instantly it was going to amplify and it was going to centre on illegal migration. Nigel Farage, yesterday afternoon, I think actually late yesterday morning, said it is really important that the British public are told who this man is and where this man is from. He was accused of stoking the fire. No, he, I believe, wanted to avoid what happened in Southport, which was that we weren't told anything, and mad, bizarre theories started online and resulted in trouble. This man got into the country in the wrong way, And it begs the question, and I'm not shying away from this. I listened to an interview from a refugee charity who said, and I quote, "Don't allow this one isolated incident to upset the wonderful work that all these fantastic people do that come to our countries and bring so much." Try telling that to the teen girl who was yesterday raped by 4 Afghan nationals, including a 16-year-old boy, when they'd enticed her on a bus from Somerset to Bristol, plied her with drugs, got her drunk and raped her repeatedly and filmed it. Try telling that to the girl on the beach in Southampton, raped and attacked by 2 men, 2 years ago, who got off because apparently they'd get into trouble if they went home. I've had stand-up arguments. I'm not going to name this person. She looked me full square in the face 2 weeks ago and said, "White men rape women. White men stab people." Yes, they do. And all of it is abhorrent. And I wish we could do more. We could start by having police who actually do a better job.
Yeah, but we have stats showing otherwise. Yeah, they do, but we have stats showing otherwise on a vaster scale.
Another subject. But if, and I repeat this, if you are going to allow people into your country who are unvetted, you don't know about them, you don't know about their past, and whether people like this or not, they come from places where there is a different mindset, a different ideology, different rules, you are asking for trouble. And I will never condone what I saw in Belfast last night, but until they drag me from this duty, I am not going to sit here and say, I don't understand the revulsion. I do. I get people's anger. Hard-working, law-abiding, normal, everyday people who are increasingly thinking, what the hell? Not only economically am I screwed, not only socially am I screwed, but now I have to look over my shoulder when I walk down the street. I'd love to hear what you think of this today. There's so much to this story. 0344. And you.
Wow. And remember, guys, all these clips I'm showing you, think about what we have been seeing in America. The rapes, the kidnappings, the murders. It's the same. What's going to outrage us? What's going to be? I mean, I don't know. I mean, what is the tipping point? We did elect Trump. Okay, was that that's the first tipping point. That's first stepping forward. Now we close the borders. Now we want them out. But we're getting blockade after blockade from the left. Blockade from the left. It doesn't even matter how many American citizens get killed, according to the left, because they just want to be passionate. And he just named off some girl. They drug her up. It was Muslims who get her drugged and then grape her. This is insane. So now they have somebody actually filming that guy, doing to that guy that was a mentally challenged person that this Sudanese guy did this to. Apparently he had help, by the way. We're gonna get to that. Look at this. British Army Colonel has warned that civil war between Christians and Muslims in the United Kingdom is now inevitable. So when do you think we're going to cross that threshold? Because Christianity is under assault. It has been for a long time, but boy, has it's been ramping up in America. Plus, you had the gay pride flag, rainbow unicorn people take over. What is it the Methodist Church or something? It's like, what is happening? Yes, it's spiritual warfare that they've taken over the church to tell you it's okay. Your gayness is okay. The UK is heading towards a civil war because the government is afraid to stop the Islamization of the country. This is not some far-right rant. This is serving military officers stating the obvious after years of grooming gangs, knife attacks, no-go zones, and two-tier policies. Could you imagine? I would think Dearborn, Michigan would be a no-go zone, especially at night. The establishment imported millions of people who would not share British values. Sound familiar? Millions of people will not share American values. Everything I'm saying, guys, it's going to happen here. And it is happening here. And then criminalize anyone who notices it. Now, even the army is saying that what the public has known for years, the government's cowardice has made conflict unavoidable. Stop the Islamization, deport the invaders. British must choose survival over surrender. And this is what has to happen in America. And it's not because our leaders are coward. It's what they want. This is what they want. They know you don't want it. That's beside the point. Doesn't matter what you want. We know what's best for the whole entire world. That's what we know is what's best for the entire planet.
Government now, or no prospective government of the UK, has the guts to stop it. If they want to take strong action to prevent the Islamification of the UK, then it's going to mean big trouble for them. They don't want trouble. They look 4 years ahead. They will kick the can down the road to somebody else. And I think the end result of that is very likely to be civil war in Britain, where the indigenous...
Physical civil war.
Actual civil... I'm not talking about the American Civil War,
no,
armies. I'm talking about something more like Northern Ireland, but on a much more intensive scale, where you have the indigenous British and the some of the immigrant population and the British government all on three different sides fighting against each other. And if I'd be very surprised if that doesn't happen, because there's no prospect of the government, any government today, stopping this from occurring. Government now or no.
So what? Novak was stabbed by a knife that these demons can carry around because for religious reasons they can carry around these knives. Does I carry this for religious reasons? And he says, well, me too. And then you have this. But you guys, I just found something out. In Washington. Now, I have it in a stack of stuff that obviously we're not going to get to it today, but in another show. But I was like, what? Apparently, in Washington, at schools, they can carry these knives in school for religious purposes. But other students cannot carry a knife. They will be suspended and rooted out. And I am not making this up. Violence, pedo, rape, and torture are a way of life for people who proclaim they will dominate and subjugate the world. It's Islam. That's what they say in the Quran. They have to go and subjugate the non-believers. In a world where their own words every day, it's a violent, satanic political system. Is that what you want for your community, your nation, and your world? Islamophobia. A healthy survival instinct triggered by not wanting to be murdered by 7th century cosplayers who hate dogs, gays, Jews, music, you, and your entire civilization. Some basic pattern recognition. You better believe it. They don't want music. Obviously, they don't like Christians. I don't know why they didn't throw Christians in there, too. And I don't know why they didn't put, well, we do know they hate dogs, and especially black dogs. They don't like black people. They have a disdain for black people. They have a disdain for women. Women are compared to donkeys and dogs. Women have a half a brain. This is all stuff in their hadiths and in the Quran. You could go Google what I said, like stop the tape, go, oh, ask Grok. Grok, dude, how does Islam and the hadiths or the Quran, how do they treat women, or how they view women, or however you want to ask the question? Why do they hate dogs? Why there's a story about Muhammad wanting to kill all the dogs, and one of them's like, hey man, we need some of these for hunting. He's like, oh, you can keep some of the dogs, but the other dogs you need to get rid of because he doesn't like dogs. It's retarded. This is Clay Higgins. Says he's a representative member of the GOP Oversight, LA03, the House of Representatives. And this is very important, what he says. And I think it goes right with what we're talking about.
Tuesday night, actually Wednesday morning, about 1 in the morning here in D.C. It's been a long, long day. There's a lot going on, America. Pay attention to what your Congress is doing. We did get ICE and CBP fully funded. It shouldn't have been a fight like that, and it was accomplished in a dangerous way. We're going to have to restore full funding for ICE and CBP within the DHS appropriations process, which was which was blocked this year by Democrats, and essentially Republicans, we figured out a very procedural manner that we jumped through a lot of hoops to get ICE fully funded, including CBP and all of DHS, the broader DHS. So it's a bad precedent, let me say. But we had no choice this year. We had to do what we had to do in order to get law enforcement funded so we can enforce our laws and deport everybody who needs to be deported and do what we need to do to restore order to our country. But if we don't codify...
And again, what he's saying is like, why did they have to fight so hard to give money to these organizations that keep America safe? That the Democrats, every block in the road, trying to stop them. No, we don't want ICE. We don't want to fund them. We don't want to fund Homeland Security. No, we want the terrorists. We want these people who have come from insane asylums and loony bins. And we want them terrorizing our citizens. This is insane. It makes me angry. They had to practically pull teeth to get this stuff done.
The policies that the Trump administration has successfully enforced, then as soon as Democrats get back in charge, whenever that happens, you know how the pendulum swings in this country, whenever that happens, they're just going to open the borders again. And we'll be back in the same mess. So we have to get full border security legislation pushed through Congress. And let me tell you, I don't know how we're going to do it. It's going to be a hell of a fight.
And why would it be a fight? Ask yourself this question as well. Why are we fighting to protect our own borders against Democrats who are supposedly American citizens? Supposedly, they don't give a crap about irregular American citizens. They will open the floodgates again. This is some scary stuff, man. And he's right. He's like, they got to get some concrete legislation done to completely enforce the borders, enforce the laws, get these people out. Be praying for the birthright citizenship that we can stop that. I mean, this is insane.
Watch what happens over the course of this year, because weak Republicans are going to get smoked out. They're going to start voting more and more with Democrats, and they're going to identify themselves for removal in November, and hopefully we'll get a more conservative Republican in their place. But it's a gamble, yeah, because you could end up with a Democrat in some of those seats. But let me tell you, it's a gamble we have to take, because some of these votes, vote by vote, on the one hand, some of us are barely saving the country and making some advances in some ways. On the other hand, some of these guys are quickly destroying our country. So wow. Okay, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I should say good night. I'm gonna keep you posted. Honor to serve. Oh.
And this is what's happening over there in Northern Ireland, over there in the UK. You have people, they're not listening to the citizens of their country. And you have people trying to fix it, but then you have this other one continuously destroying. So it's just, we have to give Trump the tools that he needs to get this legislation into law, etched in where it cannot be changed by these people who continue to want to destroy the fabric, the foundation of the United States of America, to transform it, like Obama said. Believe what they tell you. Transform it into something else. And that something is not America. I mean, is that what you want? Is that what you want? It's certainly not what I want, and I think it's certainly not what most of the majority of America want. And I think these young people being brainwashed in our colleges and schools, if you drop them off in another country, and wouldn't that open their eyes? Start teaching them real history. Start showing them how these other countries, how these other governments run. continent of Africa, go there. Go to these places in the Middle East. You be running and crying to your mama to get back to America and get back into her basement. Y'all remember during the Biden administration where you couldn't talk about the jab? You couldn't talk about it. You couldn't talk about the risks of the jab and what it did. It gave people blood clots. Some people were having heart problems. Young people dying, and all of this stuff. So they were censoring YouTube, Facebook, Twitter when it was Twitterly. I said Twitterly when it was Twitter. Instagram, any kind of social platform would cancel you, block you. You couldn't talk about anything. And guess what? It come out, the Biden administration pressured all of these different entities, these social networks I just told you about, social platforms. They could have said no. They literally could have said what? No. But no, they kowtowed to the Biden administration and started red flagging, put something in their algorithm to flag these things, certain words and certain things, which they're still doing this to this day. There's still a lot of stuff you can't keep saying because you'll get reflagged by some bot AI algorithm that YouTube has and stuff like that. So literally, the left was stifling free speech to even have an open discussion. Whether you wanted to believe a conspiracy theory about the jab or not, you should have had a right to talk about it. And you have a right to disagree with somebody who says, hey man, you shouldn't get that jab because it might do XYZ. And then this person says, well, no, I think I can because of XYZ. And then have that discussion. But no, they shut that discussion down. But here you have Steimer, and this just happened. This just happened in the last 2 days, guys, that artistic man was attacked by a Sudanese illegal. And this is what Steimer says. Steimer commits to crack down on X. Lib Dem leader Ed Davies says it's not free speech. Steimer agrees and says we need to crack down on X for whipping up violence. These people are insane, they're authoritarian and dangerous. They must be removed from power. But I can guarantee you, the people on the left, this is what they want for America. They want to shut down Elon Musk. They want to shut down the discourse of free speech.
And that it is not free speech if it's controlled by tech billionaires and their algorithms. So will he crack down properly on platforms like X that are fueling violence and hatred?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we will crack down on anyone who's fueling this division. But it is really important, and I agree with him, we are heading into a very difficult situation in Northern Ireland. As I say, I've spoken to the Chief Constable, the First Minister and Deputy First Minister this morning. They are united in saying we should all be calling for calm. The police are on the front line, and it's our duty as politicians to call for that calm, and nobody who's a politician should be whipping up division and hatred.
And
I'll tell you what, if it wasn't for Elon Musk and if it wasn't for X, we probably wouldn't know even what the hell was going on the other side of the world. And I can guarantee you, even places like Fox News, they wouldn't be covering it either. I've hated Fox News for several years now. I started disliking them, especially when I really came a Rush baby. Listening to Rush in the afternoon. And then later that evening, I'm watching Fox News, right? Some of their main shows, Bret Baier, which was Brett Humes before. And you had Hannity and Combs, and you had Bill O'Reilly. Just some to name a few. So I'd be listening to them, waiting for them to comment on the crap that Rush Limbaugh had been talking about all afternoon or most of the week. And nope, they never touched it. I just started I stopped watching it. I was like, oh my God. I just started coming to coming to this realization that even Fox News, they're all biased. They're all going to report on whatever they want, leave out certain facts because they don't want to cause unrest and discord. But they were doing that back then. But look, guys, they're talking about... So you guys over in the UK, if anybody over there is even watching me, they already know. They're probably aware, hey, yeah, your free speech is fixing to get taken away. I mean, they could just shut down Elon Musk for over there. I mean, they're not going to shut us down here, but the world uses X. Guys, I see posts from the Pope. Posts from this guy, from Steimer. I see posts from him. I see posts from all of these powerful people all over the world post on X. X is powerful. And the viciousness when the Pope tweets something, if you want to call it, now they call it a thread, or did they call it threads before? Oh, it's brutal. He's brutal. He gets brutalized because of some stances he takes. But nobody's shutting down that discourse. We have to have free speech, ladies and gentlemen. And guarantee you, this is what the left would love to do to X. Love to shut. Because look at all the free speech that was shut down on X during the Biden administration, where it was just nothing but a bunch of left-wing psychopath narcissists was left on X. Left on Twitter. Before it became X. Because they were, or if there was conservatives on there, they're afraid to say anything. Because all these left-wing people who were running Twitter would jump on it and cancel you. Block you. This is crazy. And then they're saying, oh, they got to stop because it's fueling violence and discord. No. They're telling the truth over there. We're seeing what's happening, and we know why these people are upset. They're upset because they're tired of you gaslighting them about the illegals coming into their country, giving them everything, and then they go and murder and kill and rape, kidnap the indigenous people, the Britons, the Irish, all of them. It's the indigenous people. Yeah, I said indigenous. Those other people, the Sudanese, the Islams, the Muslims, no, they're not indigenous to that area. They've come from a third world hellhole. They don't know how to behave. And this is the truth that's getting out. And this is how, guys, my little brain has put together, like, this has all been done systematically by people like Steimer, O'Biden, I combine O'Biden and Biden together. Yeah. All of them, over Biden's administration, all of them decided, I guess through the EU, that let's just open the floodgates on all of these countries and do this. And then say, oh, we got to protect free speech. We got to stop people from creating and stirring up violence. When all I've seen on X today is people reporting on what's happening. Reporting on what's happening, for Pete's sake. But no, to them, it's like, oh no, we can't let the world know, or even the public know what's going on. We've got to contain this. The State Department posted this. Under President Trump, the State Department is defending the integrity of the United States citizenship by ending illegal birth tourism schemes. No foreigner is permitted to obtain a visitor visa for the primary purpose of acquiring a U.S. citizenship for a child by giving birth in the United States. Now, I do also think that they have paid, I've read some things a while back, that people from China would maybe pay an American woman to have the kid for them. And then they take the kid, take the kid back to China until the kid's 18, bring him back, and then they can vote. This is a national security problem where you could change an election, city by city, state by state. That's what it takes. Get a judge elected here, get a chief elected there. Get somebody in Congress elected over here by dropping in, 100,000 people? I don't know. Just saying. The U.S. Embassy in West Africa uncovered a sophisticated birth tourism network and more than 100 foreign nationals using fraudulent documents and visa fixers to get themselves visas in order to get U.S. citizenship for their children. This goes on to say, we shut it down, revoked these foreign nationalist visas, and are coordinating with local authorities to systematically identify and cut off any similar operations. I'd just say cut off that whole country from coming into the country, period. In Europe, a U.S. embassy identified more than 400 suspected birth tourism cases since 2024. Investigators traced them to at least 6 companies that coached applicants on what to say in their visa interviews, arranged U.S. housing, and set up delivery plans. Do you not think that this is all actually funded by George Soros and China? In Europe, okay, we read that one. Let's see, this saying we shut it down, revoked the visas, and permanently banned several fraudsters from traveling to the United States ever again. Good. U.S. Embassy in North Africa revoked over 100 visas for birth tourist parents who came to the United States primarily to give birth, so they could, so their children would get U.S. citizenship. Yeah, so they can get a visa, get over here, and have the kid. It's crazy, and this goes on and on and on and on. If y'all want to read more, go to the State Department on X. And you could read all of this because it's fascinating and it's like, damn, I'm glad to see that they're doing something. Streets in Northern Ireland descended to chaos as masked rioters torched vehicles, attacked police, and targeted immigrant families after a Sudanese asylum seeker was charged with attempted murder and a brutal stabbing. Officers say the suspect entered Northern Ireland from Ireland on a 5-year visa while seeking asylum. Now, police are doubling deployments as authorities urge locals not to return to the streets tonight. What's Fox News saying? Can't stand Fox News.
And there are riots erupting across several areas in Northern Ireland right now. So this comes after video of a horrific stabbing that was allegedly committed by an asylum seeker from Sudan. That video went viral. Greg Palcott is in London with more. Hi, Greg.
Hi, Dana. Yeah, there was mayhem on the streets of Belfast, Northern Ireland last night with a very anti-immigrant bent. Masked and hooded men burning families out of their homes, setting on fire stores and other businesses, torching numerous vehicles, including buses, and attacking police. All sparked by...
I did see police getting the invaders, the illegals, whatever you want to call them. I know some of you compassionate people want to call them migrants, immigrants, whatever. They were seen flooding out, running for their lives into vehicles by police, getting them out. Maybe they should just send them back to their own country.
By the brutal stabbing by a 30-year-old Sudanese man, Ali Al-Odeid, of a 44-year-old resident of Northern Ireland. The victim badly injured in the face and neck. The assailant charged with attempted murder. Bystanders getting involved. The video widely seen. While the attack is currently not being treated as terrorism, what has spurred the violence is the suspect made his way to Northern Ireland from Ireland, a member of the European Union, and was on a 5-year visa seeking asylum. Again, in many cases last night, immigrants, including entire families, were specifically targeted. Here's what a top Northern Ireland official had to say.
Nothing can justify the violence that we saw on the streets of Northern Ireland.
Wow.
Last night with masked thugs trying to burn and intimidate.
Oh, now the people who are upset about one of their own getting almost decapitated, now they're mass thugs, they're right-wing extremists. There's no excuse for what they did. Yes, there is. Am I condoning what they did? No. But you could at least be honest with the people and go, well, there is a problem with immigration, and it's spilling over, and these people have had enough, and this is their way to fight back because you are not doing anything about it. You politicians, the police, nobody is doing nothing about it. And then they're like, well, we got to do something about it. But look, you have Free Palestine. Y'all have seen all the other kind of rioters who take to the streets wearing masks, wearing Palestinian garb and all of that. Did they call them thugs? No. when they were doing destruction, when they're setting fire to effigies of the British flag or the American flag or Trump, no, they're not thugs. They're just misunderstood.
People out of their homes.
The disorder in Northern Ireland is the latest to flare up in the UK in response to a crime often believed to have been caused by an immigrant. In fact, there was unrest last night across the UK, even here in London. Critics complain the anger is due to lax policies here and in other European countries regarding immigration, amid calls for a tightening up of who gets into the country. Even Elon Musk posting a call for protest and a change in policies. As the cleanup at the scarred neighborhoods went on today, there was a new call from officials for locals not to take to the streets again tonight, along with a doubling up of police deployments to try to maintain calm. Amid more calls for protests, maybe more trouble.
And there.
This is from Ben Habibi, leader of Advanced UK and chairman of the Great British PAC, former MEP for London, British Patriot. And I just thought, wow, this is what he said. The people of Northern Ireland are unique. Frankly, they may be the only people left in the United Kingdom who still truly understand what it means to be British. And good God, I keep saying throughout the show, think about America when you're thinking about this. Like, we need to stand up. How many of us are still left to truly understand what it means to be America? Not as a slogan, not as a flag for convenience, but as an identity forged through loyalty, sacrifice, reliance, and history. That community bond matters. And to understand just how catastrophically the government has handled this situation, consider this. Loyalists, unionists, and nationalists are coming together in Northern Ireland. That sentence alone should stop every official in Stormont and Whitehall dead in their tracks, because these people are always feuding, but now they're like, we have a common enemy, we need to rally together. Because when communities with such deep historic divisions find common cause, it tells you something very, very profound. The public can see what the government refuses to admit. This is not a community tension problem. It's a failure of leadership, border patrol, and public safety. And again, this right here, it's a failure of leadership of border control, public safety. This is exactly what's happening in America. And we need to pull together. We need to be, frankly, the people left. And I'll just change United Kingdom with the United States. Frankly, we may be the only people in the United States who truly understand what it means to be an American. And we cannot lose that. We cannot lose that. I think here's that footage I was talking about when I saw the police on the side coming and grabbing people. It says, break-in, anti-migrant rioters. Anti-migrant. Anti-migrant. How about pro-Britain, pro-Northern Ireland? Pro-Northern Ireland rioters. But this says anti-migrant riots devastate parts of Belfast last night as thousands of loyalists sweep the street to street, burning out immigrant homes all over the city. Police had to fight through rioters to assist fleeing foreign families who were forced out of their Protestant areas of the city. 2026 may be a long, long summer in Ulster. Wow. Well, maybe these people will go, wow, maybe we better go back to our country.
Running for their lives. Immigrant families targeted in East Belfast in one of the worst nights of violence seen in Northern Ireland in over a decade. Police resources heavily stretched as chaos unfolded on the streets. The protest began shortly before 7
Stop
p.m.
the boats.
with many turning violent instantly. This was the scene on the Newton Ards Road, where a glider bus was hijacked and set alight. Just a short distance away, Cars and homes were torched, with many of the residents fleeing for their lives. Elsewhere in Cloughfern, close to 800 people gathered where they hijacked cars and threw petrol bombs at police.
Petra.
These were the scenes.
They call gas Petra.
Off the Crumlin Road in the north of the city. It was here that masked men swept through the streets, setting cars alight and torching homes. Police responded, but on most occasions it was too late to save property.
Too late.
The fire service said that it dealt with 256 calls.
Dang.
This resulted in attendance at 62 separate incidents. The fear is that violence could continue to run for several nights. Running.
And how would this violence stop? By stopping the bleeding. By saying, hey, okay, we hear this, we hear you people. We hear you. We need to stop these third world IQ invaders. We need to stop the migration. This is what they want. They don't want these people in their communities. We're actually almost done.
We're all shouting like fucking all.
It says the protesters are in Belfast are going house to house looking for migrants and evicting them. Could you imagine us doing this and say when a bunch of retards go out to say free Palestine and there's a whole bunch of Muslims doing a bunch of retarded stuff and then Americans just came in and just got a bus and get them out of here? We want them gone. It would be amazing. But I'm not going to condone that they should be, burning them, hurt anybody. No, I don't want nothing like that to happen. I mean, I think I'm just like most Americans here. We want these people gone. If you don't have allegiance to America, you need to leave. If you're here illegally, you need to leave. We do not want Sharia law. We don't want mosques. We don't want your stupid Quran book. It's stupid. We don't want it. Go away. And take your stupid prophet with you. Looks like a bunch of men. They've had enough. Some more destruction. Belfast protesters turned violent yesterday, causing much damage as people let their anger out on migrant homes, cars, and shops. One burning car was set into a house. Whoa! One burning car was sent into a house and set it ablaze. This is crazy.
Oh, shit. Oh my god.
Whoa.
Oh my god.
Whoa.
Oh my god.
I'm getting hammered tonight.
Dang. Dang. Now, how do they know that these cars belong to the illegals or migrants or whatever you want to call them? I know they're not indigenous to this area, so how do they know? I mean, are they just doing like BLM? Because I don't condone that. I don't condone any of this type of violence. But what do you do? I mean, do you have to, if these people have been complaining all of these years, just like in America, and the people you elect, nothing gets better, nothing gets changed, nothing happens. These people get slapped on the wrist, and then what? Finally, the people just had enough. They got to take matters in their own hands. I don't know what else to say. But I think this is part of the frustration, is because they're not getting listened to. They keep dumping these people into these communities, and then these kinds of things happen. Again, you can't drop a third world person into a first world society. It's a culture shock, and the brain can't handle it. And plus, most of them are probably, obviously, they're low IQ, and they might have mental problems. Obviously, dude had a mental problem. He straddles some guy who does literally have mental problems that we know of, and that he's trying to gouge his eyes out and cut his head off, for God's sakes. That Sudanese guy definitely has mental problems. Worse than the guy who has mental problems.
Look at them cars, look.
Well, you know what? BLM, Antifa, all of them seem to be able to get things done when they riot and do destruction and burn cities, don't they? Were they condemned here in America? Were they considered, what was the left-wing media calling them thugs for robbing stores? Or they're just upset that Rodney King got killed, or Trayvon Martin, or Brown, or George Floyd. When all of those riots happened here in America, were we told by our media, even the leftist media, well, these are just thugs and we're not going to tolerate this kind of behavior? No, they were sympathetic. These people are upset that they're not getting the representation that they deserve. There's police brutality. No, what they did was they spit on the police and all of a sudden started a propaganda campaign to say that we need to defund the police. Not like here, these news officers are like, oh, these are thugs and we condemn this. We don't know why caused this unrest. We need to figure this out. We don't know if this was a religious hate crime. We don't know if it's a terrorist attack from this Sudanese Muslim guy who's trying to behead this guy. No, we don't know what's going on. But these thugs, we're not going to tolerate these masked thugs. So it's a whole different perspective when how they're talking about either Palestinians and Muslims against the Jews, and they want free Palestine, or BLM, Antifa, all of them. They're all sympathetic. They're sympathetic to them, but they're not sympathetic to these people who's actually literally had enough. Northern Ireland is rising after last night's horrific events. Large crowds are gathering and the people had enough. The whole world is about to see what's happened when you push the British too far. We will not be replaced. We will not stay silent. Protect our communities, secure our borders. This is our country. And this was posted by British and Proud. So this is just one other little clip. Here's Rupert Lowe, MP. If y'all don't know who he is, he's running for office in the in Britain. And here we go. This is what he says. The arrested Sudanese man was an asylum seeker. He entered Britain in February 2023, immediately claiming asylum, according to the police. How can you just walk in and claim asylum? This retardedness was happening here in America, too. It's like, what? You need a good reason. Were you being persecuted? Well, what's going on? Who's persecuting you? Oh, you just can't come here because you're poor and want a better life. Good Lord. Who was the immigration minister at the time? And then when the man was granted leave to remain in our country, reforms Robert Jarrett. Who was Homeland Security? Reform Savannah Braverman. He's calling these people out. Braverman. They were responsible for our borders. They failed in the most horrific way, with the most horrific consequences. The same here in America. The Biden administration and the left have blood on their hands for allowing millions upon millions of unvetted third world low IQ invaders invade our country and then murder our innocents. A Restore Britain government will abolish the entire asylum assistance. So he is on for running for the party called Restore Britain. No more asylum seekers. Anyone who enter our country illegally will be deported, regardless of our current status. Enough. Restore Britain, and we will not fail you. Well, they also need to start just doing massive deportation. I watch Apostate Prophet AP on YouTube. He was talking about it last night or the night before, and he was like, somebody had asked, well, what would solve the problem? What could solve the problem here in Britain? And maybe, I'm going to just add, I'll keep adding America too. He says mass deportation. Millions upon millions, start getting them out by the boatloads, by the plane loads. Get them out. Get them out. That's how you're going to solve this problem, because Islam is not compatible with Western civilization. These people will not assimilate. How many times do we have to tell you? It is not going to happen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap it up with this last thing. And this guy, I heard this clip and I was like, wow. I was just like, wow. Because listen.
These are facts, people. Check it if you don't believe me. Look all over the world. They're trying to wipe out Christianity. And now they've got to Ireland, and that's their plan. And it's looking very likely to me. The travellers are already taking up less than 1% of the population. Now the average Irish person are going to be a minority in this country if we do not stand up and do something about it.
That's the same thing. I keep telling you it's going to happen to America. We will be the minority.
This is disgusting what's happening in this country. They're doing sex education classes for as young as 4-year-olds. No 4-year-old should know about these things. No 4-year-old should lose their innocence. No 4-year-old should know about private parts or be taught them in fucking schools.
What I say at the beginning of the show, this crap is happening all over the planet simultaneously. Woke agenda, destroying your children, climate change, illegal migration, letting them just pour in. It's insanity. It's happening all over. And I think the EU is behind it all. All these people who are in these countries I mentioned, and even the United States, all of these countries, all part of the EU, they all sat around a round table and decided to perpetrate this on the people of the planet.
One last thing I'll say. Up the north, a man almost got beheaded. This is a man who suffered from disabilities himself. He already could barely see out of his eyes before this attack. He had a lack of hearing. This man also played a part in taking these people in, trying to care for them. But what did they do? They turned on him. They turned on him and tried to take his life.
I did have a video of somebody talking about it. They were saying that maybe we could get... Let me just tell you this real quick. Those people moved into the area not 4 days ago. The man that was straddling the guy and stabbing his face, him and another guy just moved into that neighborhood 4 days ago. Now, the young man who has hearing problems and some visual problems, and he's kind of special, okay? He had been helping them for a few days. Then they turned on him. There was two guys. Now, the one guy's on the camera doing his thing, and I can't show that, but I just wanted you to get a background that they had only been there 4 days. 4 days in that community, and then this guy attacks him. It's insane.
Only for a hero to step in and nearly take him out. The last thing I will say, a good friend of mine, John Mulhall, and I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, these are facts, the videos are there to prove it. A man approached him recently, a Muslim man, with a knife. He could see it in his waistband. He asked the man to show him the knife. The man wouldn't show it. He finally pulled it up. The guards got called on site. John said to the guards, if this was an Irishman, what would you do? They admitted they would arrest him. The same guard claimed to be a Catholic in this country, and he says, John, you've got to understand their culture and religion.
That is a great point. The cop says you have to understand their culture, their religion, but you be damned. You don't have a culture, you don't have a religion that we're going to recognize because we want to force you to understand theirs. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound familiar here in America? Does that sound familiar what's been happening in our schools? That they'll bend over backwards to give comfort to their kids, to let them go pray 5 times a day, disrupting the class. Then during Ramadan, they're going to tell you, oh, you need to tell your kids they can't bring snacks in the class because we have other kids who are fasting. Because we have to understand their religion. But your kids, nope, your kids don't have heritage. Your kids white. No, you don't count. You don't count. You're a Christian. No, you don't count. We can't have Christianity in the school. No. We got to bend over backwards for the Muslims. We got to bend over backwards from them. We got to bend over backwards for the alphabet soup. We got to bend over backwards to let them have trans people come in and read books to our children. We got to bend over backwards to let them be able to have these nasty books in the libraries. But no, what he's saying, and I keep emphasizing this is happening all over the planet. That they've perpetrated on us. And wow, talk about Lex Luthor diabolical madness of evil that these people have done. The EU. You know it's the EU. You know a lot of it's part of it. They have so much control and clout, and we need to just we don't need to be a part of that no more. None of that. The United Nations, none of it. No, we don't need them. We don't need them. But what he's saying is so true. It's so true. So, guys, I brought up a story, and we're going to cover it in the next show or two, in Washington, at a school. They're letting their students, I don't know how much of their kids or their high schools, whatever, carry knives because it's part of their religion. That they could carry a knife around. But your kid can't carry his little Swiss Army knife. Nope. And even if your kid's a good kid who's not going to do anything wrong. No, he doesn't have any rights because he's either white and he's a Christian. You don't have rights anymore. You have to understand their religion. I don't want to understand. Actually, I have been studying their retarded religion. The Quran is stupid. It's all stupid. I don't even care if somebody's saying I'm being disrespectful. Either you're just blind, and you don't want to face and see the truth on the holes that is in Islam, the holes that are in the Quran. It's beyond. It's like Mount Everest of evidence to debunk everything about Islam and Muhammad. It's insane to me. It's insane. And look, and I know I am not the sharpest tool in the shed. But wow, this past 2 years, I've learned so much that I had never known before. And we've been lied to so many times. We've been lied to like, oh, if somebody comes up to you and say, oh, well, why can't we just get along because we all worship the same God? No, we don't. We don't. We do not. We do not worship the same God as Islam. We don't. And remember that.
But whoever's not here, it's time to stop sitting back, get out on the streets, march, and take them out!
Where's William Wallace when you need him? A revolution! Where's William Wallace? Hey man, I think I'm going to have to go watch Braveheart. That's what I'm going to have to do. That's what I'm going to have to do. Well, are we seeing the first parts of the revolution in Northern Ireland because they've had enough? And again, let me know in the comment section, When is it going to be enough in America when we get tired of seeing not just Muslims or Haitians, but just psychopaths that the court systems keep letting them out back on the street, and then they go and they kill innocent Americans? When are we going to be having enough of that? When are we? I just saw another video the other day of on the same bus that Irene, the girl from Ukraine who was murdered by that crazy black guy. Same train, another guy. Yes, he was black. Probably crazy. I don't know. We went around, had a knife in his hand on the same train bus that she was killed on. When's enough going to be enough? And I believe that was in North Carolina as well. What is going on here? Why are we allowing this? We do not have to live this way at all. Always remember, Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior. Seek Him out for your salvation, and always use your own critical thinking. Lord, thank you for joining me. If you made it all the way to the end of the show, let me know what you think in the description. If you like it, please hit that button. I used to say it in the shows all the time. It's like, do I need to remind people to hit the like button? Hit the subscribe button? It's free to support me. Just hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Take a moment and throw in a comment. And have a blessed day. And pray for America. And pray for Northern Ireland. That they get the results that they deserve. That their government is going to actually listen to them and stop the bleeding at the border.